from Asia to Sweden, Stockholm, and then to Chicago, USA. And finally, the landing spot will be Old Trafford, where the guys are going to be focusing on getting their body right, getting the tactics right, and getting themselves honestly ready to tackle the 2025-2026 season in the Premier League. This is a big one for Ruben Amorim. It's a big one for the players. It's honestly a make or break season for this entire group of players. And this is what we are going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about the signings, tactical tweaks, and a player comeback, or some players comebacks, because this definitely has to be a situation where we drill into what Manchester United have to do, Manchester United have to get going, and Manchester United have to iron out before the 17th of August when we face Arsenal Football Club. That is not going to be an easy thing, but let's get into this. First things first. After a very stormy 2024, Ruben Amorim says the good times, the good days are coming, and this tour is where it all begins. This tour is where it all starts, and that is what we are excited about. First things first, the tour itinerary. That's what we are going to look at, and then the global reach that it's going to give us. Asian leg we have already played, which was in May 28th and 30th. That was pretty good. It was against Asian All-Stars in Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong 11 in Hong Kong. The narrative about that situation was basically re-engaging the Asian fans, or the Asia fans, massive fan base by my eye. That fan base for Manchester United is ridiculous. It's honestly one of the biggest fan base in the entire world. But with this particular one, Manchester United needed to go re-access or kind of engage with the fans, because they haven't been to Asia in a very long time, with the club as a global ambassador in that situation. Then they first stopped at Sweden, which was a stop on the 19th of July. This was a friendly versus Leeds United at the arena in Stockholm. This, of course, ended 0-0 with the first appearance of, Matheus, Cunha, and Diego Leon. We got to see them first time in the United colours. It's not in the red, it was in the beautiful away kit that we saw. It was definitely really good to see Cunha kind of doing his magic. But let me not go too deep in that situation. But when we start looking at that game, we of course saw the tactical preview of that game, or the tactical setting was the first to run at the 3-4-3 under match conditions. Of course, I've been telling people that this situation is a little bit different, and this formation has a lot of tweaks in it, and Ruben Amorim is going to find the right formation for Manchester United. He is a very, very advanced thinker and thinker. We saw that with Sporting, and I believe he's going to do that with this team. Now, a lot of things people have not really spoken about is the ability or the probability of this formation from a 3-4-3 to being a 3-5-2. People are not really thinking about it, because we have now bought two number 10s that can play the number 9 positions, and we have seen Bryan Mbeumo work very well with Johan Wissa in Brentford in that similar system. And that's one thing that we can tell you for sure. Matheus Cunha did the same thing at Wolves. Bryan Mbeumo did the same thing at Brentford, and that is one of the reasons why Manchester United went for Premier League proven players, and not just Premier League proven players, but players that have played the system that Ruben Amorim wants and are very accustomed to what he wants in that system. And that is where we are going to see a very high jump in Manchester United performing better, because they will be used to it, and they do not need a very long awaited, drawn out learning to get this done. Now, in this situation, now we move to the summer series, the USA Summer Series, which is going to be from July 26th, July 30th, on then August 3rd. That is kind of how we are going to be seeing it when it comes to the summer series. Of course, it's going to be exciting because we get to play Premier League side, we get to play Italian teams, and actually get to then wrap up with a really good one in the preseason, and I'm going to get to that. But first things first, we are going to be playing West Ham at the MetLife Stadium, the Soldier Field versus Bournemouth, and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium versus Everton. That in alone is such a good thing for us. It's a series that would definitely get us playing against Premier League side that are still in the Premier League and have all Premier League qualities, just to test the guys out, test the boys out, let them understand kind of what it takes to be a Premier League for Manchester United, because it's different for playing for Wolves and playing for Brentford. The scrutiny, the eyes you are totally different to United, and this gives them a glimpse of how you can see that. And then of course the fan engagement, you are going to be seeing sold out crowds, local media coverage, and double header format in this situation, because it is Manchester United playing. The biggest club in England and one of the biggest club in the world are coming to the United States, and they are going to be playing Premier League oppositions, and that alone would definitely be cause to actually celebrate. And then in the same preseason, we are going to be seeing a Snapdragon Cup finale, which is going to be at Old Trafford versus Fiorentina. Of course, Moises Kean, that's one talented striker that I personally would not mind giving an opportunity. Again, in the league, he did not succeed at Everton, but I wouldn't mind seeing him back in the Premier League because I think he's physical enough to actually do it. This is, of course, going to be a club. It's the Snapdragon Cup. Role is basically modernizing the preseason and Old Trafford's showcase. That's basically what Snapdragon is. If you guys do not know, that's the sponsor that we have on Manchester United shirt. And I think this is a brilliant way for Manchester United to then go out there and port out a lot of things in terms of the phones that they make, the content that they're going to make in terms of physical, vertical content. If you're a content creator, you know kind of the out and out of having the Snapdragon Cup, because we're going to be playing a really tough side in Fiorentina, and God, are we going to be facing David De Gea. That is not something that I wanted to say anytime soon, but we will be facing David, and that's going to be exciting. Heart-wrenching, but exciting for sure. Now let's look about spotlight on the new signings that is going to be presented to us. First things first, Matheus Cunha. A lot of people have forgotten that we have gotten one of the best players in the Premier League in Matheus Cunha because of how long the deal for Bryan Mbeumo went on. But Matheus Cunha is a Manchester United player, people. He is a Manchester United player, people. And that is a cause to celebrate, because his previous club, of course, was Wolves. He came in here for £62.5 million. And the truth about it is, he's a technical number 10 that has the ability to link up play, give you goals and assists, to say the least. That is Matheus Cunha. That right there. And of course, without without intangibles, all this would not happen. A leader in his own right. He's a very confident player, someone that understands that he got it, and he is not going to allow anybody to think otherwise. That is one thing about Matheus Cunha. And then you look at Bryan Mbeumo. Bryan Mbeumo, a Brentford the guy from Brentford, came into Manchester United plus a 6 million add-ons. We took it to 70 million pounds, 71 million pounds. Of course, a childhood dream to play at Manchester United. 20 goals last season. That alone should basically describe who we are getting in Bryan Mbeumo. But if you haven't watched the video I made about what Bryan bringing to Manchester United, there should be a video there in the related column for you to check out, because I am telling you, he is going to be a revelation. And then you see the likes of Diego Leon from Cerro Porteño for 3.2 million pounds plus a 3.8 million in add-ons. This is a teen wonder kid of a left back compared to a young Marcelo. This is honestly the type of signings that, in fact, the last two are Moneyball type of signings that they got from the data. And then the scouts went to look at him and they were like, oh my God, we might have just found Marcelo in Cerro Porteño and brought him to Manchester United. And then you have Enzo Canabayek. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's from Lavre, free, loaned out now, but he is definitely a really good player. Defensive Really a good player. I don't really know much about the kid, but I'm sure is that he's definitely going to provide something going forward, and hopefully he does well in his loan, and that's where Johnny Evans come in, because he's not director of the loans. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that situation. Integration is definitely going to be a key thing, because one of the things that I really hit on is the fact that I needed the top players, our the new signing should be on the boss or on the to US, because they needed camaraderie, they needed the first training, they needed to get to know their new teammates, they need all this extra time merge and get to know themselves. That is definitely going to be happening, especially with Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. Of course, Diego Leon is definitely in, and he's definitely picking it up, and that is exciting to think about. But we definitely keep on going. Now, the focus of the coaches, Ruben Amorim, should be focusing on very specific things, in my opinion. First things first is the philosophy of the squad. The philosophy of the squad is truly down rotten last season. He needs to come with the idea of out old and in with the new. That speech should absolutely be the focus. It should be a focus of resetting the culture at Manchester United, resetting the mindset of these players, resetting their mind of knowing that they can actually, some of those players are still in the club when we were second place. They were in the club when we were third place. And so they can actually get us back into those positions and then challenging for the title. That's what he needs to do. And then he also then has to emphasize on pressing intensity and vertical transitions. It is quite key for Manchester United to be able to move vertically, for be able to move in a very fast pace vertically and not just move side to side. Because one them side to side doesn't really work as well in the Premier League. The tiki-taka, the focus of holding possession without purpose, it doesn't make any sense to start getting better at moving forward and moving vertically. Second thing that they need to focus is the tactical evolution. Of course, the base is going to come out as a 3-4-3 in a base, but the flexibility should definitely have the ability to be a 4-3-3, have the ability to be a 3-5-2. Those things need to be ironed out. We need to be able to understand when we need to switch from which formation to which formation. If we are with the ball, what formation are we going to? If we are without the ball and we want to close down compactly, or the opponent are coming through the middle, then we get compact 4-3-3. If all those things are things that we need to absolutely iron out, because we have the time to, and because this season is going to be absolutely grueling, especially because we do not have any other league to play. It is the focus on the Premier League, and that has to be something that we get right. And then we are looking at the wing-back rows. Reimagined. The wing-back rows are definitely reimagined. Amad Diallo is probably, pardon me for saying the Diallo part, Amad is definitely going to be, in my mind, the right wing back position. I think he's going to be the starting right wing back, and that would definitely give us a cause to absolutely celebrate, because Bryan Mbeumo and Amad Diallo on one position or on one side of the pitch is very lethal. It's very, very lethal. But then you then have Patrick Dogu and Matheus. Those are hybrid attackers on each part of the pitch, and that basically tells us that we have absolute attacking prowess from each side. The balance is going to be right. And then, of course, we have now basically been reduced to the 4-bomb squad. That is a very sad name that they are calling them. I do not really like it, but that's what has been labeled these players. Of course, Marcus Rashford has gone to Barcelona, and that is definitely really good for him and for the club. And then you still have the likes of Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony Amalacia to still leave. I believe those players are going to leave this summer, but it's going to be hard. But those players definitely have been left at Manchester for them to be able to find a deal to their new clubs and just train. You understand? Just train. Don't be with this. Focus on you finding a new team. And that, to me, is I think is a good thing. I think is a really good thing, because They are out of his plans. The focus is the players that he took with him, and definitely something that would definitely work out well. And then you have to look at youth integration into the first team. The truth about it is Manchester United have an ethos, bringing a trusting academy graduate in big games, in big friendlies. And that's one thing that Manchester United will continue to do. So I am expecting to see a lot of youngsters in the squad. A lot of youngsters in the squad. A lot of people actually going in and finding out who they are, whether they are actually going to have a breakthrough at Manchester United or they should be finding a new club. And then you then finally have to then focus on the fitness and analysis, because this is the time for you to sit in the classroom. This is the time for you to be fit. This is the time for you to have a very ridiculous amount of fitness when it comes to running distances. This is the start. Give them a glimpse at training at the Adidas headquarters in Germany. You understand? That should be something that they need to focus on. They need to absolutely drill their mind in. You get me? I don't know why we haven't even gone to Germany yet, because I think that would be a very good place for them to focus on, because that's Adidas base. You get me? Sports science. Emphasize on a way to avoid that they are going to be probably facing next season. It needs to be a situation where we get their body in a way that they will be able to play next season without any burnout. That's what we want. We do not want Manchester United starting really high and then literally falling off a cliff because their body is not ready to take the grueling 38 games. We do not want that whatsoever. You understand? We just don't. And then let's finally look at the key player rebound stories that we need to absolutely should happen. This should start in the preseason. These are players that they need a bit of rebranding. They need a bit of reminding Manchester United fans that they are talented players. And they are players that their talents brought them to Manchester United, and it's not about the freaking conspiracy about FSG, whatever the freaking SEG, Ten Hag's agency. They need to remind Manchester United players why they are Manchester United players. Manchester United fans why they are Manchester United players. They need to do that. Things first is Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund went through a very difficult 2004-2025 goal drought. It was an entire mess of a season for him. But then we all saw Rasmus Højlund do magic in the preseason last year. He should do it again. US matches are definitely need to be a confident booster. He needs to be able to put down or put behind the goal drought of last season, score 2, 3, 4 goals in some of these preseason games and get the confidence and remember that he is a striker, and he's a striker that absolutely does a big one. Second, Mason Mount. I've known the number 7 wearing Mason Mount has been withered with injury upon injuries upon injuries. And now it is time for him to reclaim. He needs that number 10 roles because he has competition. He has the likes of Matheus, Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. It's not going to be easy to break into this squad. Yes, Manchester United are building with depth in mind. But if every single person in that squad should be absolutely vying and fighting for a place in the first 11. And it's going to be a day to cry about, to realize that the number 7 shirt is being seated on the bench more often than he's on the pitch. And that alone to me would definitely be a crime. Second or third is Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro's leadership. We need them to get better at it. Under their stewardship, Manchester United were 15th place last season. 15th place last season. And I'm not calling for them to change captain is. I'm not calling for that. But they definitely need to get better at basically organizing the squad for themselves. There's a saying that my coach used to tell me. The coach is not the one that sets the culture. He's not the one that enforces the culture. He basically tells them what the culture wants, he wants the culture to be, and the players, the captains, the leaders of that squad enforces the culture and basically makes the team what the team is. Roy Keane, when Manchester United were under his stewardship, he never let the standard slip. And that is where Manchester United need it's at this point. Casemiro, Bruno need to focus on holding every single person accountable, because we cannot afford to repeat what we had last season. You understand? And then you are looking at in the goalkeeper department, Andre Onana and Altay Ben Yedder. Oh my God. This is one of the most frustrating parts of Manchester United. For Andre Onana, it is so sad to see the person that honestly was one of the best goalkeepers in the world. One of the best goalkeepers in the world plays at Manchester United. That is truly sad. And then now let's start looking at the youth. The rising youth that could be coming through Manchester United's academy. Your Jack Fletcher, Sekou Kone, Reece Monroe, Bendito Mantato. This situation needs to be, the expectations that we put on these kids should not be high. It should be a situation that they are going to this to understand how professionals move. You need to watch every single professional in the first team, how they sleep, how they recover, for you to be able to get a grasp of what you would need to break into that team. You already have talent. These players already have the talent. They just need to understand what it means to be a Manchester United player. And when they understand that, then they can start breaking into the team. And of course, you then look at personal kind of vignettes, family reactions, the dreams of playing at Old Trafford, the spotlight. We have a documentary with, Aiden Heaven and his mom, and how exciting that was. It definitely was exciting, but they could be the next Aiden Heaven. They could be the next Marcus Rashford. They could be, honestly, a situation that could benefit their life and could change their life forever. Playing under the lights of Old Trafford is second to none. And that is why I believe this preseason is going to be crucial, especially for the likes of Bendito Mantato and Sekou Kone. That name is so fun to call, Bendito Mantato. Excuse me. And then we go in the sixth one. Tactical insight demonstrations. Manchester United and Ruben Amorim especially need to focus on this situation, because we need the drills to get this player playing the way we want. Focus on the wing backs. That would be where I would start. Focus on Amad Diallo crossing the drills. Amad Diallo's crossing drills. Patrick Dogu's overlapping runs. Those things are things to absolutely iron out. The conversations, the communications, understanding when he's making the run around, understanding when he's making the run inwards. All those things are things that the players need to get to know about themselves. When he likes to take the outside run, when he likes to take the cut back pass, when he likes to float it back the back post. All those things are things that need to be ironed out. Now the midfield dynamics. Kobbie Mainoo, box-to-box midfielder, and his readiness to play alongside the pivot of Manuel Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes. All these things are things that we need to iron out. The midfield dynamics. Is Kobbie Mainoo going to be playing with Bruno? Or is he going to be playing with Manuel Ugarte? Or is Bruno going to be playing with Ugarte or Sekou Kone? All those things are things that we need to absolutely get together and get going. Because we are facing Arsenal in less than a month's time. And that alone is troubling to think about. And then, of course, pressing triggers. We need that. We need the pressing triggers. And the trigger would definitely from inside with Amad and Bryan Mbeumo. Those are our best pressing monsters in this team. And so I think we need a trigger. We need a trigger, maybe from Rasmus Højlund, because that way he to one side, to the left or to the right, and then trigger them in that situation to get the ball back. And then, of course, the beauty of this situation of what the preseason has to offer, the off-field content, the fan engagement, these absolutely be exciting. It will be things that will be exciting. I think the players and the coaching staff need to be able to reach out to players and reach out to fans and touch fans, get them re-engaged into Manchester United. We need to get re-engaged into that, and it will definitely do us a world of good. Now, I know I've spoken about a lot of things in this video, and I hope you guys absolutely enjoyed it, because we here on Pillar Sports are promising that we are going to be giving you angles that a lot of people are not going to be able to even see, talk less of talk about. And I hope that we were able to bring value to you on all the 4 archetypes that we are actually focused on. Let me know what you guys think about this. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you do not miss anything that we have here to offer, and hit that like button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Comment down below if you want to talk about whatever. I'll see you guys. Peace.